In this video, we're going to practice solving equations with rational numbers. A rational number can be anything such as a fraction, a decimal, an integer. They can be positive and they can be negative. And the most important thing to keep in mind is that everything you learned about solving equations remains the same. We just have numbers that look a little different than our whole positive numbers that we're used to. So this first example, we have 1/4 x equals negative 2/5. And my goal remains the same as it always was. I want to isolate x, or get x by itself on this side of the equation. And in order to do that, I use inverse operations. So I know that 1/4 is being multiplied by x. So to get rid of it, I would divide by 1/4. And we know that dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 1/4, which is 4/1. And that allows me to cancel out the 1/4, and I keep an x on the left-hand side. Now, because this is an equation, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I also have to come over here and multiply this side by 4/1. And looking at these fractions, I recognize that I can't cross-cancel anything. So I'm going to first look at my signs. I have negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And 5 times 1 is 5. And then I can simplify that answer. 5 can go into 8 one time, with 3 left over. And I keep the 5 in the denominator. And that negative sign tags along. So the solution to this question would be x equals negative 1 3/5. Let's look at another one. So x minus negative 7.3 equals negative 10. The first thing I notice is that I have a whole lot of different signs here. So to make this a little easier, I'm going to start off right here. And I know that minus a negative becomes a plus. So I'm going to rewrite my equation as x plus 7.3 equals negative 10. And the reason I do that is it makes it a little easier for me to identify what operation I need to use in order to get x by itself. So now I know that x and 7.3 are being added, and the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 7.3 from the left, which cancels out, giving me a 0. And because it's an equation, if I subtract 7.3 on the left, I also subtract 7.3 on the right. So on the left, we have x. And on the right, we're going to use our integer rules that we learned. So when I'm subtracting, I'm adding the opposite. So this is really negative 10 plus negative 7.3. We're adding with the same sign, so I'm going to add them together. 10 plus negative 7.3 is 17.3. And since both of those terms are negative, my answer will also be negative. So the solution to this problem would be x equals negative 17.3.